We are all well aware of sports teams using public funds to build their stadiums. At least in that version of corporate welfare, the amount of money the taxpayer/fan is being screwed out of is out in the open, usually. But did you know that sports franchises have other sneaky, hidden ways of squeezing money out of you and me? And all those clever ways are coming up right after this.
Calling all college football fans!
Yes, it's that time of year where you can spot an easy upset or a team that is going to crush the point spread. You know what's going to happen, so why not turn that intuition into actual cheddar? With DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, you can instantly turn $5 into $200 in free bets. You don't even need intuition to tell you that's easy math. Plus, with same-game parlays, you can stack your bets and give yourself a shot at even bigger winnings. I personally have used DraftKings for a long time, and your money is both safe and easy to withdraw. The interface is really easy to figure out, and last year I put my noggin to good use and won a little scratch. Let's go! Stop wasting any more time before college kickoff. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now, and new customers use promo code FivePoints and receive $200 in free bets instantly when placing a $5 wager. Again, download the DraftKings app from the link below and use promo code FivePoints for $200 in free bets. Sneaky way number 1, real estate. This one seems so obvious, but when you really peel back the onion, it's amazing to see just how smart a sports team investing in real estate really is. A big problem with sports franchises is seasonality. Most playing seasons only last half a year or less. The way to combat this? Own the surrounding real estate to a stadium and lease the property to vendors, restaurants, hotels, and tourist-related services. Smarter teams will even place apartment buildings they own near or literally right on top of a stadium and enjoy profitable revenue all year round from their tenants. Even better, none of this money has to be shared with the other teams in the league. Because fuck communism. Examples of teams acquiring vast amount of real estate adjacent to their stadium include the Green Bay Packers and Titletown, Stan Kroenke and the areas outside of SoFi Stadium, and the St. Louis Cardinals with their Ballpark Village. The real estate holdings also add significant value to the franchise. The Atlanta Braves estimate their team-owned Battery Atlanta complex, which houses Comcast headquarters, adds $636 million in franchise value, which, if they need to borrow against, they could, which they should have done to keep Freddie Freeman. Ah well. Sneaky way number 2, devaluing the franchise. The LA Clippers, Carolina Panthers, and Cleveland Cavaliers all claimed massive losses in 2021 for their franchises, and will likely do that for the next 10 to 15 years. But how are teams that sell out nearly every game, have massive TV rights deals, and accept public funding for their stadiums losing money? Well, because of a tax code, one that was pushed into law by wealthy people themselves. Team owners are able to amortize the purchase of their franchise over 15 years. Essentially, the owners claim that their franchise is depreciating, meaning it's losing value, and that allows them to write off the purchase of the asset. Sounds backwards, doesn't it? As nearly all sports franchises double or triple in value in the same time period that they are claiming the franchise is losing money. This is actually a common loophole in taxes. However, not many small business owners are afforded the same opportunity to buy into an asset that receives public funds and doubles or triples in value, all while avoiding taxes at the same time. But that's what money, power, and influence buys you. Now you can make a shocked face. Sneaky way number 3, insurance. Most all of us have insurance, especially on something like a car, which is likely to get into an accident at some point, or your home, which could fall into a sinkhole. But what about insurance on a knee or elbow? All sports teams insure some or all of their player contracts because you just never know when one of them is going to get hurt on the field, buy a motorcycle in the offseason, or, book a few extra massages. In fact, the NBA requires every team to insure their top 5 player contracts. Insurance doesn't just protect a team's bottom line and help alleviate the cost of a bad contract, it can also affect how teams operate. When Nathan Horton's career ended in 2013 due to a back injury, the Blue Jackets owed him $26 million, but they didn't insure his contract, and they weren't able to pay the $26 million. At the same time, the Maple Leafs wanted to get rid of David Clarkson, who had a similar contract, and his was insured. So the two teams traded the players for each other. The Leafs shed the cap hit, an underperforming player, and the Blue Jackets didn't have to pay Horton. It was an even bigger win for the Blue Jackets when Clarkson's career also ended in injury, and they could collect on their policy. Good old insurance. Quick side note, insurance can work in the player's benefit too. College athletes can actually take out a policy on themselves should something awful happen to them while an amateur athlete, amateur in quotations, again like an injury or getting drafted by the Texans. In 2015, while still in college, Oregon cornerback Ifeatu Ekpre-Olumu tore his ACL and received $3 million in insurance money as his draft stock plummeted. He was expected to be a first rounder. Good for him, I guess. Remember, insurance is a two-way street. If a company is willing enough to insure a contract, then good on them for their underwriting and math skills. If a team or a player wants to pay high premiums, that's also on them. But to most outsiders, thinking a sports franchise is on the hook for the full value of some ridiculous contract is a little naive. Sneaky way number 4, gambling on their product. When Calvin Ridley was suspended for an entire season for gambling, not only was this an example of the NFL's inconsistent disciplinary policy, but it was one of the most do as I say, not as I do moments for the league. The eventual full legalization of sports gambling is already and will be one of the biggest financial boons for the league. For sports teams and leagues, there are two main ways they stand to profit from gambling. The first is the increased engagement from fans who want to actually go to the ballpark and yell at players for not catching their 1.5 TDs they needed as the last part of their 15-leg parlay. A study by Nielsen and the AGA estimates just more fans coming to games or watching on TV because of gambling alone could be a total revenue increase of $1.7 billion. And this makes sense. Boring game on a Thursday? Legally place a bet and watch the game and eat all the bratwurst and beer cheese you can to drown out the fact that you actually thought the Lions would win on Thanksgiving and played the money line. Dumbass. The second revenue stream is from direct fees from betting operators like DRAFTKINGS, the sponsor of this video, in the form of sponsorships and advertising. And there is one more really sneaky way. Now, the attention and the sponsorship stuff I mentioned isn't really a secret because you can't even watch a stupid YouTube video without getting an ad for DraftKings. But one profitable asset the sports leagues have are their data. Technically, nobody owns stats, but leagues have the infrastructure in place to essentially curate and resell its data to the highest bidders. Their stats are incredibly valuable since they can provide real-time updates to preferred betting sites with API and connectivity right at their stadiums. And that goes beyond TDs, threes, goals, home runs, and sacks. There could be a world in the future where bettors are wagering on everything from number of pancake blocks to average throw velocity for a QB or top running speed for a player that day, exit velo and launch angles, number of assaulted masseuses, how much gum Pete Carroll has chewed before halftime. The possibilities are endless, and so are the profits from gambling in all the leagues. And now our last sneaky way sports franchises make money, and it is sneaky. Tax evasion and tax deductions with player contracts. Earlier, I touched on how teams are able to write off their initial investment by devaluing their franchise, and how they can use insurance on their player contracts. This last one really brings both tax avoidance and the players' contracts together. Clever teams will not only insure their players against injury, but also literally treat their players as a piece of equipment that is a depreciating asset. By categorizing the players as such, teams can write off a portion of their player's contract and avoid paying taxes, effectively saying, hey, this guy is going to get older and suck, so let me treat him like an old tractor on my books and pay less in taxes. It's actually not terrible logic or illegal, just like everything the rich owners do when it comes to avoiding taxes. It just comes off as crass and a little bit heartless, but if you saw how Yankees fans treated Joey Gallo, we should all understand sports are a freaking business.
Strike three! He struck him out! What a coincidence! Oh my God! Shocked!
For every Tom Brady that actually outperforms his contract, there is a Chris Davis who goes out and proves an owner's point about an athlete's declining abilities. Actually, there are a lot of examples of that. I don't know why I picked on Chris Davis. Well, there you have it. All the sneaky ways teams make money. Try not to think of them when you pay $15 for a beer. I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to my next video.